Every day, millions head to work expecting to return home safely. But for some, a routine shift turns into a deadly nightmare. Behind the walls of factories, beneath towering turbines, and atop scaffolding high above the ground, hidden dangers lurk. From faulty equipment to ignored safety rules, these tragedies aren't just accidents, they're preventable. Here are 5 of the most disturbing workplace deaths ever recorded, where lives were lost not by chance but by oversight. 1. The Chocolate Factory. Horror. Vincent Smith II, Camden, New Jersey, 2009. July 8, 2009, was a typical humid morning in Camden, New Jersey. Outside the Cocoa Services Inc.'s chocolate plant, the sweet scent of cocoa filled the air, giving no hint of the horror that was about to unfold. Inside, 29-year-old Vincent Smith II was 2 weeks into his job as a temporary worker. His role that day was simple but vital, feeding chunks of raw chocolate into a giant 8-foot-deep vat that heated up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit, where the chocolate would be melted down for use in Hershey's products. Vincent worked from a 9-foot-high platform built above the vat. But this platform was anything but safe. It lacked guardrails, was loosely covered with cardboard, and had become slippery due to the scattered chocolate. Workers didn't have harnesses or proper safety gear either. It was around 10:30 a.m. when it happened. Vincent lost his footing on the unsteady surface and fell straight into the vat. What followed was pure chaos. Co-workers saw the fall and rushed to help, but the emergency shutoff switch for the mixing blades was located at the bottom of a staircase, far from where Vincent had fallen. Inside the vat, large mechanical blades continued to churn the hot chocolate, and one of them struck Vincent almost immediately. His colleagues desperately tried to pull him out, and one worker ran to shut off the machine, but time and heat worked against them. Vincent was trapped inside for nearly 10 minutes. By the time emergency responders arrived, it was already too late. Firefighters removed his body while shaken co-workers and emergency teams stood by in stunned silence. Outside, Vincent's devastated father and aunt waited for answers. His aunt questioned why he hadn't been given a safety harness, pointing out that a simple precaution might have saved his life. The factory was shut down for the day, and a full investigation by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, followed. Shockingly, this wasn't even the first such accident. 2. The Falling Platform Tragedy. David and Clayton Bottomley, Liverpool, England, 2021. May 19th, 2021, started off like any other day on the construction site of Liverpool's Unity building. This towering 27-story structure was buzzing with activity. On the 21st floor, David Bottomley, a seasoned insulation fitter, was working alongside his 17-year-old son, Clayton. They were inseparable, known for their close bond both on and off the job. Clayton, still an apprentice just 6 months into his training, was following in his father's footsteps. That afternoon, they were installing exterior cladding from a mass-climbing platform, a mechanized structure used to reach high areas. Everything seemed normal until around 3:30 p.m. Witnesses from nearby buildings noticed something off. One bystander described the right side of the platform dipping slightly and then making a clicking sound, like a roller coaster right before the drop. Moments later, the clicking intensified. David and Clayton were seen bracing themselves just before the entire platform gave way and plummeted 14 stories, crashing onto the 7th floor roof. The crash was something no one could forget. It echoed through the buildings like a thunderclap, leaving everyone frozen in shock. People stopped in their tracks, not quite believing what they'd just heard. Emergency crews got there fast, but it was already too late for David. He didn't survive the impact. Clayton was still breathing, but barely. He was rushed to Anfield Hospital and placed in the ICU, where doctors did everything they could. But after 4 heartbreaking days on life support, Clayton passed away, leaving his family and community shattered. After the accident, the UK's health and safety executive launched an investigation, and what they uncovered was deeply troubling. The platform's braking system had failed completely. The pinion shafts in the gearboxes were worn out, disconnecting the brakes, and even the backup system didn't work. It looked like maintenance had been ignored or done poorly, exposing serious gaps in site safety and oversight. In Castleford, the tragedy left a deep scar. Clayton was a talented young rugby player, known for his determination and big heart. His school described him as an inspiration. David was seen as a proud, hard-working father who loved teaming up with his son. Their bond was unmistakable, and losing them both crushed the entire community. Inquiries pointed fingers at multiple entities: equipment suppliers, site managers, and platform manufacturers. Everyone wanted to know, could this have been prevented? And the more investigators uncovered, the more it seemed that the answer was yes. 3. Crushed on the farm. Pier Paolo Bodini, Breno, Italy, 2024. June 20th, 2024, started off like any normal summer morning in Breno, a peaceful little village in Italy's Lodi province, where life usually moved at a steady, familiar rhythm. For the 18-year-old Pier Paolo Bodini, it was just another workday at the Bonetti farm, a place he'd come to love over the 10 months he'd been there. Farming wasn't just a job for him, it was a calling. His social media was full of pictures of tractors, equipment, and green fields. You could see his excitement and pride in every post. He truly loved what he did, and everyone who knew him could tell. That morning, Pier Paolo and a 20-year-old colleague were carrying out routine maintenance on a massive piece of farming machinery, a seed drill used to plant crops efficiently across large fields. It was supposed to be a basic cleanup task, nothing dangerous. But around 10 a.m., something went horribly wrong. A mechanical pin suddenly gave way. Without warning, one of the seed drill's massive wings collapsed and came crashing down. It hit Pier Paolo on the head, killing him instantly. Investigators began looking into whether the machinery had failed due to a defect or poor maintenance. It was the second fatal farming accident in the province in just a month. At his funeral on June 22nd, in his mother's hometown of Barreto Lodigiano, the church was filled with friends, family, and neighbors, all mourning the loss of a bright, hard-working young man gone too soon. 4. The wind turbine disaster. Just Patience, Victoria, Australia, 2024. On November 11th, 2024, in rural Victoria, Australia, the future looked bright at the Golden Plains Wind Farm. The project was set to be the largest of its kind in the Southern Hemisphere. Among the many workers making it a reality was 36-year-old Jess Patience, an experienced installation technician known for his kindness and mentoring spirit. That morning, Jess was preparing a massive wind turbine blade for installation. These blades are gigantic and require meticulous handling. At around 8 a.m., tragedy struck. One of the blades, weighing several tons, slipped from its supports and came crashing down. Jess was underneath. Despite emergency services arriving quickly, the injuries were catastrophic. Jess was pronounced dead at the scene. Photos from the aftermath showed the turbine blade lying on the ground like a fallen monolith. The vibrant energy of the work site had turned into a haunting scene of silence and mourning. Jess wasn't just a worker. He was a husband, a mentor, and a friend. Colleagues spoke about how he always shared stories from his travels and offered help to new recruits. In response to the incident, the wind farm was shut down. Vestas, the company managing the construction, announced an investigation and pledged full cooperation with WorkSafe Victoria. Initial findings pointed toward improper securing of the turbine blade. There were questions about whether safety guidelines were followed at all. The Australian Workers' Union added fuel to the fire by revealing that they had previously raised concerns about the site's safety conditions. It seemed their warnings had gone unheeded. A GoFundMe campaign for Jess's wife quickly surpassed its goal, with donations flooding in. The community support was overwhelming, but nothing could fill the void left by his sudden passing. His death became a symbol of the ongoing risks workers face in even the most modern industries, where progress can sometimes come at the ultimate cost. 5. Electrocution in the aftermath of a storm. Jayton Stallhut, Mississippi, USA, 2024. On August 6, 2024, the heat in Byram, Mississippi, was heavy and unforgiving. Tropical Storm Debbie had just passed, leaving the town battered and without power. Roads were flooded, poles were down, and help was urgently needed. Among those stepping up was 20-year-old Jayton Allen Stallhut, a young utility worker with Exo energy, ready to restore what the storm had broken. Jayton was young but already deeply respected. A recent high school graduate, Eagle Scout, and newlywed, he brought energy and kindness to everything he did. That day, he was working with his crew on Ray Street, inspecting power poles for storm damage. While climbing one of the poles, he accidentally came into contact with a live wire. The shock was immediate and lethal. A coworker quickly called for help and performed CPR. Emergency services arrived and rushed Jayton to the hospital, but the damage was too severe. He passed away from electrocution shortly after. Jayton's death shook the town of Prentice to its core. He'd only been married a year, and his wife was heartbroken. Friends remembered his warm smile and how he made everyone feel welcome. His obituary said it all. He was a young man filled with dreams, kindness, and love. His loss wasn't just personal, it was felt by an entire community. The accident raised urgent questions about the safety procedures utility workers follow during storm recovery. These jobs are essential, but also perilous, especially when navigating live wires, unstable poles, and unpredictable conditions. Jayton's story reminded everyone of the invisible dangers these workers face while helping communities rebuild. These 5 tragedies have something painfully in common. Each life lost could have been saved with better safety measures. From falling platforms to unsecured machinery and electrical hazards, the cause wasn't just accidents, it was neglect. These stories aren't just about the past, they're urgent reminders for today, because behind every statistic is a son, a father, a friend, someone who didn't come home. If these stories moved you, share this video to raise awareness about workplace safety. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real-life deep dives. Let's make sure stories like these lead to change, so that no more lives are lost in the name of productivity.